Welcome to this week's episode of Chingasos Combat Crew, your one-stop shop for all your combat news. We got Jiu-Jitsu news, MMA news, UFC, Bellator crossover with Ryzen. Lots of juicy news and weird video Fonzo found for us talking about how Jiu-Jitsu is ineffective in MMA. And we're going to break that video down. I got the boys joining me. How y'all doing, my fellas?
To all my peoples in the struggle, you know what I'm saying?
What's going on, homies?
Chilling, man. It's Sunday, fun day. It's been actually a relaxing weekend, so not too many of those. I'm glad we finally got one of them, and now we're putting the cherry on top with this podcast. So sit back and relax.
That's what's up, cuz. How you doing?
I'm doing good, man. Waiting to talk about these new updates, what's been going on. I don't know. We're going to be getting into that fight card too that I put together, but I'm excited for whatever happens next, man.
Yeah, we got some good stuff here. Good stuff. I saw a stat the other day that said starting next weekend, or maybe it was this week, we're going to have fights every weekend.
Oh, yeah.
For like the next 3 months or some crap.
Too much good stuff.
Yeah. So, and that's just UFC. So
Yeah.
we got a lot of other stuff. So let's get into our combat news, my gentlemen, my boys. You ready to start this off?
Let's do it.
All right, let's freaking go here, man. Let's go. Kicking it off, talking about IBJJF Worlds 2023. Just wrapped up not too long ago down at the Pyramid. Cuz, what matches stood out the most to you? What did you enjoy this weekend as far as jiu-jitsu?
Well, there was a check mat. It was a check mat versus Art of Jiu-Jitsu black belt final. You had, I can't think of his name now. You caught me off guard. But it was the returning champion from last year was coming back. We had a check mat guy that was out there. It was going to be his first one, and he just dominated. It's the same guy that went over, beat the Rotolo brother, Ty Rotolo, that we were talking about earlier. That match right there was just awesome. Some of the moves that he did. I don't know if you got to watch him versus Ty.
I didn't get to watch that match. I didn't get to watch the match he lost. I'm going to go back and watch that.
Do you remember the guy's name? I don't want to mess up his name.
I don't remember.
It started with a J.
Jansen?
Jansen.
Yeah, it was Jansen Gomez. I'm sorry. I did see that match.
Yeah.
He won 2-0.
When he had that single leg.
Sick ass fool.
Oh
my gosh.
Ty Rotolo had a single leg, had the lapel going underneath his leg. He was going to take him down, and all of a sudden you just saw Jansen just, like, I don't know, he did a 3-point stance, threw his leg over and was out of it. I mean, it was just phenomenal. It blew my mind on that one. Then the Fiona match, that was amazing. Second time winning Worlds. Congratulations to her. That was a great match as well. Dominating.
Oh, man. Basically, every single gold medal match was a super close match. Like, a couple matches that got won on points. I don't think there was any submissions, but it was nonstop action, man. Nonstop action. Speaking of Jansen Gomez, Jansen went up against the giant Tonon Dobra, dude. Tonon Dobra, was he like 2-time, 3-time IBJJF World Champion? Just been on a tear, dominating everybody. Everyone was hoping to see a tie and a Tonon Dobra matchup in the finals, but Jansen Gomez had something to say about that. And not only did he wreck the Ty Rutolo's gold medal aspirations, but he crashed Tynan's gold medal aspirations as well, dude. That was such a close match. Yes. It went down to literally like the last 20, 15 seconds maybe.
And I almost thought he was going to come back. I almost thought there was a point where he was coming up on top and it looked like he was going to get out, but he won, man. It was great.
Tynan threatened with that deep knee bar for a little while too, and Jansen just popped right out of it, man. Some really good matchups. Jonathan Alves finally became world. A lot of people became first-time World Jiu-Jitsu champions. Lucas Pinheiro and the Roosters. I think Diego Bato already won once. He did. This is his second time. Samuel Nagai, first time winning a World Jiu-Jitsu Championships. I just mentioned Jonathan Alves, Jansen Gomez, Gustavo Batista. I think that was his first time. Felipe Andrew. I'm not sure how many times he's won Worlds, but everyone else above that pretty much has already won Worlds before. but pretty good matches to watch, right, cuz?
Yeah, it was great.
Andy Murasaki had some really good matches also. But yeah, man, I thought we were going to get to see a little more JT Torres, but JT kind of got put out pretty early.
Yeah, what happened with him?
I think he lost 5 points early on Saturday. Yeah. All right. Well, last week we also had the first episode of Ultimate Fighter. Is this Ultimate Fighter 31, I want to say?
I think so, yes.
Yeah, I think it's Ultimate Fighter 31. Conor McGregor, Michael Chandler on ESPN and ESPN Plus. Gentlemen, first off, what was the last episode of TUF you guys watched? Can you remember?
Jeez, I can't remember the last one I watched.
Way too long, man.
It's been a while.
Yeah.
It's been a long while.
I think it might have been when Rampage broke that freaking door.
Oh, jeez, that was a long time ago.
No, that was a long time ago.
Yeah,
Right?
that's how long it's
Oh,
been.
I think I watched a little bit more than that. I think I watched the last one might have been like the one with Robert Whittaker.
Okay.
yeah, I saw that one.
Or I don't know, it was like an Australian
The
one. I wanna say.
The Diaz brother. I think when they first started doing like the international one, I think it was the last one I saw. Where they did like Brazil versus America.
They did a
or
Brazil
something like
one.
that.
I watched the Brazil one. Then they did like then I watched, I remember the Champions one. That was like the last one that I watched like every episode.
Every episode.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I watched a few, like the ones you were talking about, cuz where they went to like Brazil, they did some in Mexico, they did some in Australia.
Yeah.
I caught bits and pieces of those. I never watched the entire season, but the last one that I watched, like religiously recorded, watched every episode, every second, was the Champions one where Brandon Moreno was on with Kai Kara Friends. That was the last one I watched. So, did you guys watch this episode last week?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Fonzo, did you
definitely.
watch it? No,
I did not. No.
All right.
Did you see how big? Did you see how big McGregor is now? Holy
Yeah, he's fucking huge.
Dude,
He
there's
looks like, you know what? He looks like Tom Hardy. That's how this guy walks around now. He
Yeah.
don't even look like
Yeah.
McGregor no more.
he looks like Tom Hardy in Batman as Bane.
Yep.
Yeah. There's a tremendous size difference, I gotta say. Height wise, wide versus Chandler. Geez. That's gonna be tough. That's gonna be a lot for Chandler to deal with.
Well,
Yeah,
if
I'm
he even makes
wondering-
weight, man.
Yeah. Well, he finally got into the USADA pool, so
Yeah.
we gotta wait 6 more months at least.
Yep.
I think he just got in. What was it, this past week or the week before that he got into it?
I thought
His
I heard
face
about it
was
about
swollen. He was huge.
Yeah, he's huge, dude. He was just waiting to get that stuff out of his system, Gordon Ryan style, I guess. I don't know.
Right? Yeah.
But yeah, you're right, dude. I don't know what weight class. This is definitely not going to be a lightweight matchup. So I know in this episode, I don't know if he's just blowing smoke up Chandler's ass, but he did say, hey, we're going to fight at 185.
Yeah, he did say that.
So I don't know. I don't know if that's real. I don't know if it's, it'll be somewhere between 170, 185, but he does look big. And he could probably bully around Chandler at that weight, but he won't be able to bully around any other 85ers.
Yeah.
If he decides to stay that heavy. So
yeah, it also depends on what McGregor comes back. Is it just McGregor just to make some money, or is it McGregor who's hungry?
Yeah, and that's the other thing, man. What did you think about the episode where it was pretty like uneventful besides the fight, right?
Yeah.
And it's the same, everyone's talking the same smack. It's the same formula. Like, oh, hey, here's the guys. Here's the backstory on the guy who's gonna fight. Here's the backstory on the other guy. Here's their family. Oh, one of them's crying. Oh, well, here's the other guy. He's sad. Oh, they both have a sob story. Okay, now they're gonna fight. And that's big. And luckily the fight was good. Didn't last very long.
Nope.
Right? Spoiler alert, Fonzo. Cover your
I watched the fight. I just didn't watch the episode.
Oh, okay. You watched the clip? Dude, that's all it was.
That's exactly. That's all it was.
True that.
And for the same reasons you're talking about, Frank, I think I just stopped watching like the Ultimate Fighter in general, just because I'm like, you know what? Can we just cut through like this whole thing? Like, can I just watch the fight And typically that's what I did when I was watching The Ultimate Fighter. I wouldn't watch the whole episode. I just catch the fight, because that's all I was really interested in.
I wish that they would have shown more about Chandler and his coaches and McGregor and his coaches, because we're really not too interested in the fighters, So, but it seemed like it was more like a 70% mixture. 70% of the time they were talking about the fighters, and 30% of the time they were talking about McGregor or Chandler, right?
Yeah, you know what? I kind of got the feeling like they went into it with the old idea of what the Ultimate Fighter was going to be, but because of how they hyped it up, we haven't seen it in a while. They haven't been out in a while. I think I know myself was expecting, I don't know, maybe a new vibe on it, something a little different. And I just felt like we just picked up where we left off, literally from back then, but not in a good way. Kind of just like, all right, yeah, this is a thing. I want to know what happened to McGregor. I want to know, what's been going on with McGregor. I want to know about his coaches, like you said, Chandler, how he's thinking about what's going on. And yeah, okay, we'll get into the fighters, but I don't know. I really just felt like I was hyped up for it to come out, and then it just kind of
fizzled out.
Yeah, just kind of,
like a bottle rocket that didn't go off quite right.
Right,
That's why I don't buy fireworks in Tijuana no more. No, but yeah, seriously, dude. Like maybe as the season progresses, maybe they'll start showing a little more McGregor, a little more Chandler, But yeah, I hope they switch it up, man. I hope we get to see more of them. This is how little we got to see of both of those guys. I have a picture here of Chandler and his coaches. You know what I mean? He's got Ryan Bader. He's got, he's got his jiu-jitsu coach, his wrestling coach, his stand-up coach there. But I don't know who the shit is on McGregor's team. Who's the coach over there? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Is McGregor or what?
Yeah, maybe he's going to do
Steven
everything.
Seagal, fool.
Yeah, I don't know. So we'll see. You guys going to continue watching this or not?
Yeah, I'm going to give it I'm going to keep watching to stick with it for a little while,
I'm going to start watching.
Hopefully it doesn't continue.
I had those old vibes like I used to get at least pre-show. I was super pumped and ready to watch this show. I'm like, oh, cool. Something cool to watch on a Tuesday night, because I don't watch. Honestly, guys, I don't watch. Do you guys watch TV too much?
Not really.
I barely watch anything, man. People are always recommending TV shows to watch. I'm like,
Yep.
I don't have time, dude.
Yeah,
I barely watch anything.
You make time for what's important, fool.
And to me, this was important. It was cool. I got everything ready beforehand. And so when this came on, I watched it right before bed. And then as soon as it was over, I just turned it off and went to sleep. So I saved it for the end of the night, and it was cool. I'll probably continue doing that. So maybe we can do a little breakdown every episode. Hopefully we got more stuff to talk about next week and not just, what was it, an 8-second fight, cuz?
It was quick. Yeah. In there.
Yeah, it was fast,
like,
bro.
all right, let's fill you out 2 little jabs and done. Over.
Yeah.
For a second there, I thought it was a headbutt because they came in so close. Like they just rushed in. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That was
it wasn't.
Roosevelt. So we'll see what happens next. We'll see what happens on Tuesday. All right, gentlemen, let's get into some rumors, some UFC finagling going on. I don't know if this is Volk cutting the line or trying to start a completely different line. But last week, this talk came out of nowhere, seemingly, because we're still waiting for a date for Chandler McGregor, no?
Yep.
And all of a sudden, now they're talking about this fight, and I'm actually more interested in this fight, maybe.
Me too.
Mm-hmm.
I agree.
Yeah.
But dude, can McNuggets even make 155? Because it would really be unfair to make Volkanovski go up any higher than that.
No.
I know he's done it in the past, long time ago. But if he does it the wrong way, he could just come in heavy and end up being slower and give us not only hurt himself, but give us a horrible fight.
Walk around at like almost 200 pounds.
I don't know what he walks.
Volkanovski? I want to say like on a normal.
Wait, Volkanovski? No.
Yeah, doesn't he walk around at 180 or something like that?
I'm not sure. I'm sure he's probably cutting anywhere from a minimum of 20 pounds to maybe a max of 30, 35. So that would probably put him like in the 70, 80 range. But that's when he's not dieting. That's when who knows what his exercise plan or workload is at that time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know how his cardio is. Like, if you ask me to make 155 next week, I could probably do it, but I'm not. But you know what I mean? Like, you're going to be, you know what I mean? Like, imagine someone coming up to you right now and saying, hey, we need you to fight at the weight class that's 20 pounds above you. So get to Fat Burger and Spaghetti Factory and get to work. Could you do it? Yeah, you could do it, but you're not going to feel good and you're not going to be at your ultimate peak, you know? But besides that, if they could potentially meet at a weight class that is good for both of them, you know, you're not draining McGregor too much. You're not asking Volk to gain too much weight. Would you be down to watch this fight? Would you rather see? You rather see this fight than Conor and Michael Chandler?
100%.
Yeah.
I'd actually even wait. Like if we can get this fight, like if they say, look, you got to wait till next year, like 1 full year for this fight to happen, or you can watch Chandler McGregor, I'd say I'll wait a year for this fight.
Dude, what if they announce this fight for like January, December, February, somewhere around there? End of quarter 4, early quarter 1.
6 months is not enough time for both of them, man. To drop or gain weight, like.
Well, what if Conor McGregor gets on the Gordon Ryan plan and he's just like, what? 2 weeks, bro, I'm back to 145.
That fool just gets cholera.
Who the fuck is that guy?
Totally could be. But it would be a sick matchup. What do you guys out there listening think? Would you be down to pay for a pay-per-view? And this was something that I don't know if this was on Ariel Helwani's MMA Hour or on Morning Combat, but they were arguing like, okay, you're going to put this on a pay-per-view? Well, then what's going to be the main event?
That is your main event.
It could be, right? Or because they were saying, well, what if you throw a championship fight on the pay-per-view? That's always got to be the main event, no?
No.
Not always,
not
man.
necessarily.
No.
I mean, I don't know.
How many times have we watched the fight where you're like, the fight
trash.
you watched, earlier on, you're like, oh my God, that should have been the main event. And then you watch the main event, you're like, oh, okay, it was good. But
if Dana White can make up a stupid pendejada like the BMF belt, then he could make any fight be the main event and make it for 5 rounds above any other fight if he wants.
And here's the deal,
his
man.
Party, and he can cry if he wants to.
And the deal with McGregor, man, he's got so much fucking like mass appeal.
Yes,
like all the casuals will tune in or fucking watch this 100%. Like, as a fight fan, people who've been watching it for many years, all 3 of us here, we're excited from this fight. And even if you don't know who these guys are, except for maybe McGregor, you're gonna watch that pay-per-view just because it's McGregor. So you don't need anything else to promote it. You don't need another belt. Like you just make this fight.
Take my bandwidth.
Yep.
All right.
That's why he makes the big bucks.
Well, what about this fight announcement? And it's not official, but it sounds like both parties have agreed. My boy, Matthias Gamrot, answering the bell. Rafael Fiziev tweeted a couple of weeks ago, yo, I'm looking for a dance partner. Anybody want to fight in August? And nobody responded. Actually, I think Renato Moicano responded, and he's like, yo, I'm available. But
Alfonso, man, you're up, dude. You need to get on that.
Fool, I would have to. I would have to cut all the cheeseburgers, but I don't want.
No,
I don't want to cut those out.
Make him come up, bro. Make him come up.
There you go.
Make him come up, and in the meantime, he's gonna fight Matthias Gamrot.
All right,
probably in September.
Just tell him you'll be there, and then you just show up in the crowd, dude. You're like, oh, I was just gonna, watch, man. I'm just here to watch.
He's got to come up to heavyweight, fool. That's the weight class I'm in right now.
What do you guys think?
All
about
five,
this matchup,
all 5'5" of me is a heavyweight, fool.
What do you guys think about this matchup? You down for it?
I'm hella down for this. I think
this
down.
will be a freaking war, but I hope that Gamrot changed his game plan since he fought Terrence McKinney, because he was getting tagged by McKinney, and if he gets hit like that against Rafael, I don't know if he's gonna make it, dude. like that. You know what I mean? It's gonna be like Street Fighter. Like every time he gets hit, his health's just gonna keep going down. And then over a 5-round fight, bro, that health bar is gonna be mega low, mega low. Because you know, Rafael's gonna be going to the body. He's gonna be throwing kicks. He's gonna be throwing them hammers. And you know, Gamrot is like, I love Gamrot, dude, but he is like that kid that is forcing the square peg into the round hole, like over.
Yeah, he definitely
over. He just does the same shit over and over.
He definitely needs
takedowns. Tries to
to
GMP, but what if that don't work?
He needs to work on his counters. I think that's would be a nice addition to his arsenal here against Gamrot. Rafael. Yeah. Because if he can do that, dude, like let's say, like you said, his ground and pound doesn't work, his takedown doesn't work. You know that Fasiv is gonna come at him, and you know what I mean. Like he's not as quick. Gamrot is just not as quick as Fasiv is. So he's just gonna have to figure out how to be calm and patient, wait for those openings, and counter when he can. Hopefully that can create some openings for maybe some takedowns. You know what I mean? But that's how I see him winning. But I'm so for this fight. I would be excited if this would be a headliner for a fight night. All over it.
I can't believe you just gave away your game plan like that, Fonzo. Gamrot's writing that shit down.
He's got him, man. Tag him.
All right. It's gonna happen. So thumbs up, gentlemen. You both are in agreement you're here for this war.
Yeah, definitely.
Let's do it. I'm here for it. 3-rounder or a 5-rounder? What would you prefer?
3.
I prefer a 3-rounder, but look, I also wouldn't mind watching more of it. So 5-rounder for sure. Definitely, if it was going to headline it.
Definitely.
I thought you were going to pull a Kron Gracie right now and be like, they just need to go no time limit for, as long as they can.
I'm going to stop listening to my corner and I'm just going to play my game now. All right, gentlemen. Well, something that I forgot. Actually, no, I did put it in the show notes. But Gary Tonon, the Lion Killer, making his comeback for one championship. I'm sorry, July 14th, taking on Shamil Gasanov. So I don't know too much about Shamil. I know that Gary Tonon is he's coming off of a win, but prior to that, he had taking his first loss, I believe. So he's coming in with a record of 7-1. Got a sub last January. This guy he's fighting, Shamil, 10-0, Russian grappler, likes to make people fly, likes his GMP. Dude, this should be a pretty good fight. Are you guys excited for this or not?
Dude, I'm gonna watch this for sure.
You're definitely gonna have to watch this. You know what I mean? This is gonna pull in the jiu-jitsu junkies, but it's also going to pull in the MMA crowd because Gary Tonon, dude, he's going to try to split this dude's kneecap apart, And this other guy, Shamil, he's real deal, dude. He's undefeated, And his last fight, I think he ended up winning by a rear naked choke in the first round. Just freaking steamrolled his opponent, dude. I don't know who his opponent. I forgot his opponent's name. Some Vietnamese guy, but just beat the dog shit out of this guy. So this should be a good fight. I don't see it going 3 rounds. Someone's game is going to get exposed here. And I don't know, dude. Who knows? Russians always got good wrestling, good submissions. I think Shamil is a combat sambo expert, maybe even a world champ in that realm. So Gary's got his work cut out for him. It's not going to be an easy win. So it should be fun to watch.
Sick.
All right. Staying on that side of the globe. Did you guys hear about this announcement?
No,
dude. Bellator and Ryzen. You guys know Ryzen MMA in China, Japan, overseas.
Yeah.
Another Asian promotion. This is the second time that they've cross-promoted. I think they did this once before for a New Year's show. Back in the day, this was something that, who was that other organ? Was it Dream?
Yeah, Dream.
Remember Dream? That was another Japanese promotion that used to cross-promote with, I can't remember what other organization it was, but at every New Year's, their champs would fight each other.
Oh shit!
How come nobody does that shit? I mean, I realize why. Obviously, you know what I mean. You don't want your champs to lose, and then you lose credibility, and people maybe not tune in. But for the sake of the sport, like, why doesn't this shit happen more often?
Yeah, like you said, man, there's money, man. There's money to be lost. Nobody wants to go home because either way, one of them is going to go home embarrassed. You know what I mean? And it's not just that; it's just all the money lost. You know.
Or how about this? Because this time around, it's actually not going to be champion versus champion. Most of the fights are going to be like Rising fighters versus Rising fighters, Bellator fighter versus Bellator fighter. Like in the main event, it's going to be AJ McKee taking on Patricky Pitbull.
Oh, so they're just like, but both fighters from both rosters are fighting on one card.
In that case, yes. But the co-main event is a crossover fight. Kyoji Horiguchi, who's a Bellator fighter, is going to be taking on Makoto Shinri Takashi. Takashi is a Rising fighter, super young guy. I want to say he's also not undefeated, but I think he's 16-1, if I'm not mistaken. Kyoji Horiguchi, Bellator UFC vet, coming in with the record of, 31-5, 15 KOs, 4 subs. Dude, he's a monster, dude. He fucked around in UFC for a little while, wasn't too successful, but he did beat a lot of good names. I think he subbed Manel Cape like in the first round with a arm triangle, dude.
Oh wow!
So he ended up getting cut after a couple losses. Headed over to Bellator, fucked shit up over there. I think he lost to Sergio and Patricky, if I'm not mistaken. So he's only lost to like the best guys, dude. He's only lost to the best guys. But dude is a pit bull. If you look at his ears, I bet you he couldn't even hear you. But he's a ground game specialist. He loves to ground and pound, never puts on a boring fight. And the main event, dude, AJ McKee, Patricky Pitbull. This is going to be dope. This is a rematch because they fought last year at 145. I think this is going to be at 155. So outside of anything UFC, Patricky Pitbull, AJ McKee is definitely one of those fights that people are going to be tuning into for. So if you've never watched a Bellator show, you don't know anything about AJ McKee, you don't know anything about Patricky, stay tuned for this show. And I'll be talking a little bit more about this date because this date right over here,
there.
Yeah, right there, very, very significant. It's going to be an awesome, awesome day. The planets will be aligning. We're going to talk more about that in a little bit. Let's keep moving on. All right, Fonzo, you found us this gem, my boy. You remember? You know what I'm talking about?
Yes, I do.
So a couple weeks ago, you sent me this video, and it was titled "The Problem with Jiu-Jitsu and MMA and How to Fix It." So it was made by this guy on YouTube. Here's his channel.
There.
Right there.
MMA Che.
Nope, there.
And so follow him, give him a follow. He's got a bunch of other stuff, some pretty good videos, actually. I watched a couple of other ones besides this one, but this one I watched a lot of, and it was kind of cool because World Jiu-Jitsu Championships was on. UFC was on last night. You know, it made me bring up, it got me a little nostalgic because I started pulling up old fights. But I'm going to break this guy's video down. We're going to talk about it. He came up with 3 points. Now, he's not completely wrong, but I just think that this was more of like a clickbait video, or at least the title is more clickbaity, you know what I mean? To get you to come in. And then once you come in, you're like, oh, this isn't like
what I thought it was.
This ain't a barbecue, bro. This is like a, you know what I mean? I remember, dude, one time we thought we were going to, I don't know if you were with us, bro, but we
time you went to Alfonso's gym?
No.
Ecuador?
We thought we were going to a haunted house, right? And we go in and it's like spooky and shit. And then you get to a point where there's like a coffin and somebody's supposed to be dead. And then some guy just starts like preaching, like talking about, it was like it turned out to be like some Christian deal. And we were like, nah, we got up and walked out, dude.
Somebody walked out from behind you with a bowl of water and just slammed your head and baptized you like a Nacho Libre.
Like a Nacho, yeah.
Well, then he unbaptized me because I was already baptized. What a jackass! All right, so let's look at this video here. Let's look. The guard is completely no good.
Why there aren't as many UFC champions with a black belt back? What are you doing? What is that thing? Sport jiu-jitsu. And here's why you get rid of it. In completely 100% sport jiu-jitsu, there's pretty much 3 submissions you could realistically get from full guard: triangle, armbar, omoplata. I mean, yeah, maybe you could go plata. That's rare, very hard to pull off. But, you know, there's 3. In MMA, it's really just the triangle. If you can lock up the triangle, guy's pretty much done. Armbar is going to be really hard to get from guard. Who's going for an omoplata in MMA? I mean, Nick Diaz go-plotted someone. That's the only time I could ever think of that.
That was badass, though.
Not going to happen very often. As far as sweeps go,
and it happened like
very tough
too.
because
Somebody
the
else had
person
hit one
on top has a very good base. It's tough to off-balance them. And by locking full guard, you're essentially pinning yourself to the ground. So if you...
All right. So basically what this guy was saying was that the guard is no good. And there's only like a few submissions that you could essentially do from guard. So he said triangle, armbar, and omoplata, which I think there's only been like one omoplata finish in all of the UFC. But as you can see, here's a shitload of submissions from guard, or submissions that started in guard, but eventually ended up getting finished. Triangles, guillotines, arm bars. What do you guys think? Is the guard obsolete in MMA?
I think it's just the way you use it, man. Like some of the things that what he was saying in the video kind of resonated, because like if you have a pretty good understanding of jiu-jitsu, even maybe you're a brown belt, black belt, whatever, it's hard. It's like even those fighters, like I don't see them setting up a whole lot of submissions from guard. You know, some of them do, but it's very hard to get those submissions. We rarely see that, right? And a lot of fighters who do end up putting somebody in the guard end up getting ground and pounded quite a bit. Like they end up taking a lot of damage. And what I think he's trying to say is like, look, you can use your guard to kind of help you out here, but don't stay in guard. Like actively try to figure out how to either move past it, get a better position, or like don't just rely on it just to hold that person to you. Because that's what a lot of fighters seem to do, especially maybe somebody who's not as high level in jiu-jitsu. You know what I mean?
I agree.
Because then he was talking about other types of guards that might help out.
Cuz, what do you think about this? What do you think about the guard play in MMA?
Well, honestly, when you guys first sent this to me and I was watching, I kind of started when I was starting the video and listening to it. I thought he was saying like jiu-jitsu itself was not, not working for MMA. So that's where I kind of thought it was going at the beginning of the video, which I would have argued that completely. But then when he went into like putting someone into guard, I just think I still would disagree with him. Simply, I think Alfonso hit on the head. A lot of people that don't know jiu-jitsu very well, like MMA fighters are going to use that guard. But I mean, that's really, you got to know a foundation. And so to say that it doesn't work or anything like that, you can't say a foundational move doesn't work. It just, now with everybody building on different things, there's so much more you can do. I wouldn't say that it doesn't work, because it has worked in position, but you're not going to finish nobody. You're not, in jiu-jitsu, you're not going to finish anybody by just keeping them in your guard unless the time runs out. Same thing with MMA. You're not going to, have finish anybody in the guard, but that's not what its point is. The point of the guard isn't to finish anybody. It's all those other things like the photos you have up there, all those other transitional moves where you get to that. But it is effective. You don't know jiu-jitsu, you do know, a little bit. You know the guard, that basic foundation. You can at least hold on to him and hope for the best.
Yeah.
But I thought he was talking about like wrestlers versus like jiu-jitsu, and he was talking about all this other stuff. And
he mentioned wrestlers. He mentioned that, there's, like you just said, a lot more people are starting to practice jiu-jitsu. So if you go up against a wrestler, the wrestler knows when you're going for a triangle or an armbar. No shit, Sherlock. Guess what? Everyone that trains jiu-jitsu also knows that you're going for some type of submission. So that gets thrown out the window. Secondly, even in jiu-jitsu, if you're just gonna hold your opponent and guard, like Fonzo said, just put your legs around him, and you're not gonna break their posture down. You're not pulling on a sleeve. You're not trying to set up a sweep or something like you said. Then you're gonna get creamed in jiu-jitsu as well. If you let your opponent posture up in MMA in your guard, you're fucked, bro. They're gonna rain down some elbows. You better hope that shit ain't Matt Brown, because he's gonna KO you in your own guard. You know what I mean?
Yep. 100%.
So if you're gonna have an active jiu-jitsu game and you're gonna use your guard, you're not gonna be using your guard and letting your opponent posture up. Number one, the top guys never did that. They're always breaking people down. They're always forcing their opponent down, making them make some type of mistake. Maybe step one isn't the submission right away, but maybe it's getting to position B. So that way they can apply step one of plan D that you don't even know about. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
So I don't agree. I don't agree with him in that aspect as far as saying like the guard is obsolete. I think if you have a shitty guard, you definitely should not be playing guard, no matter what, whether if it's jiu-jitsu or MMA. But if
it's a starting point. It's a starting point.
And if you look at the best jiu-jiteros that crossed over from jiu-jitsu to MMA, Marcelo Garcia, Roger Gracie, Damian Maia, Murillo Bustamante, those fools had killer guards. Charles Oliveira, fool. People did not want to step foot into those people's guards. They would make them stand up. You know what I mean? So there was a time where you could be one-dimensional in the UFC and dominate for a while. Damian Maia did it for a really long time. He just barely retired not too long ago. So again, to say that the guard shouldn't be used in MMA, again, it shouldn't be used by everybody. But there's some people out there that are just badass, dude. Badass. And I would have no problem seeing them use their jiu-jitsu or their guard game in MMA. Yeah or no?
Yeah, I agree.
All right. Let's move on to the next part. So 542 of the video, he's talking about the second problem that he sees 90% in jiu-jitsu. 542.
Just try to stand up. Let's move on to reason number 2. The style of your jiu-jitsu matters a lot if you're going to transition to MMA. Let's take Andre Galvao, for example. Next to Gordon Ryan, probably the most accomplished submission grappler of all time. He went to MMA. He even fought Tyron Woodley back in Strikeforce. He had some success. He also had some failures, and he gave up on his MMA career very fast and went back to jiu-jitsu. But why? Well, you see, a lot of jiu-jitsu guys are very good at winning matches by points. And I mean very good at it. Like, they will be world champions, and they won this match because, they got a sweep. They got an advantage.
All right. So OP, original poster there, is saying that the problem number 2 with jiu-jitsu and MMA is that your styles of BJJ matter. And basically...
Well, no shit.
Yeah, right? So he's saying... So when I was listening to this talk, this would be like if you decided to do an IndyCar race with your Toyota Prius. Bro, why would you do that?
Right?
Like, why would you try to use again, this is like trying to fit the square peg in the round hole. You don't do that. You know what I mean? To say that jiu-jitsu is ineffective in MMA, again, it's not 100% true. Like there's some specifically sports jiu-jitsu. There's a lot of sports. I'm not going to try to berimbolo in the UFC because my opponent's going to smash my face in when I'm inverting. Right? There's a lot of stuff that we do, Like even leg lock game, even though the leg lock game is so strong in jiu-jitsu, in MMA, that leaves you open to strikes, you know?
Yep.
But what about rubber guard? What about open guard? There's a lot of other types of guards that you could play. Even a hybrid of jiu-jitsu and wrestling would be pretty good. But to say that jiu-jitsu players only know how to win by advantages and by points, bro, come on.
I mean, isn't that this kind of the same thing in MMA? I mean, how many times have we been watching fights and they're like, okay, as long as he gets a takedown in this round, he's gonna have, the advantage. We're gonna say he's gonna win that round. It's a 5-round match. 2 MMA fighters are fighting. They know that they get a takedown in each round. They're pretty much gonna dominate that round. So I mean, they're going based off of points too. They're going based off of points too. So they're smart about it. They know, like, okay, I won the first 3 rounds. I can kind of back off a little bit, or I lost, so I need to start doing more. And then the whole at the basic level, of course your style of jiu-jitsu is going to matter. I mean, you're obviously, if you're going into MMA and you were doing gi, you obviously are going to have options there that are not going to be there in the MMA world. I mean, but to say one thing doesn't work and the other, I think the whole point. I mean, so you think about what was that last fight with the 2 kickboxers. It was a champion who just came back. Yeah. There were 2 kickboxers, right?
Yeah.
2 kickboxers. They have tons of history. They're staying up and everything. But as soon as they fell to the ground, it was like, okay, who knows more jiu-jitsu versus the other one? That was going to win that match. And just so happened one knew one thing a little bit more than the other. Not to say they even really knew jiu-jitsu. It didn't seem like they did. But that won them the fight. So you can't. I don't think there's no argument there in that.
Yeah, no, I agree, man. Like every style of fighting has got that point game that you play. Boxing's got it, wrestling's got it, kickboxing's got it. Like you can coast. You know what I mean? Like anybody can coast. That's not new to jiu-jitsu. That's not unique to jiu-jitsu. So I didn't agree with that one. You know what I mean? But yeah, just everybody's got their opinion, I guess.
For every name that you say, oh, this person wins by decision, this person wins by advantage, you could name someone that wins by sub all the time. Nicholas Marigali, Gordon Ryan, Marcelo Garcia, Roger Gracie. There's people like that out there that are not winning by advantages. So yeah, you could always point to the people that are winning by that way, but that's not everybody. You know what I mean?
You're not going to get knockouts every MMA fight.
Exactly.
You're going to win by points.
Exactly.
That's what the whole card. Let's go to the cards and find out who's ahead or whatever. Like that's the whole point of it.
Yep. So let's go to OP's third point. Let me see here.
i.e. Valentina Shevchenko's last fight. Reason number 3. There is a slight difference when you lock a submission up in the UFC versus at your local tournament that you pay $80 to do. See, at your local tournament, those guys are going to die before they tap. Just kidding.
I don't understand his point.
No, he was just kidding.
Oh.
So what he's saying is at your local tournament, like his point was at a local tournament, as soon as somebody locks up a submission, they'll tap. Because why? They're just regular Joes. You know what I mean? Like
they got to go work the next day.
Exactly. In the UFC, they're trying to make it big, so they're not going to tap. Not necessarily not that quickly, right? They got a lot at stake, so that's obvious, 100%.
Yeah.
I don't know. What else more is there to say about that?
Right, but I don't see how this point goes towards supports or doesn't support
okay,
argument.
So then what he's saying is that's why it's less effective is the fact that you have people who will not tap, will try to power out of a submission, right? They're not going just because you locked up a submission doesn't guarantee you a win. In the UFC
but that's not based off of jiu-jitsu or the submission itself. The technique is the technique. That doesn't change no matter whether you're in the UFC or you're in a local event. What's changing is that person's mentality, like we did on our last show. We talked about fighters, mentality. Your mentality is, oh, I have to work tomorrow, so I'll take the loss today so I can come back tomorrow. Versus maybe a MMA fighter who, same thing, they might go a little bit longer, but they're eventually going to be like, okay, you're choking the shit out of me, I'm going to tap. Like, It's still the same thing. So that's why I'm saying I don't feel like 0.3 supports his argument. I just think he just threw out a point. Like, I'm just going to throw out this bullshit and see if people agree with me.
Yeah. You're probably right on that, because that's probably all he was just trying to do. If your technique is on point and you got someone in a rear naked or a guillotine on a Wednesday night, that fool probably is going to tap before he passes out because he's got to go to work or whatever. In the UFC, if you got a on point guillotine or rear naked or triangle, like on point, flawless technique, and your opponent doesn't tap out, it don't matter if he doesn't tap out. He's going to go to sleep.
Yeah.
So I showed the picture of Volkanovski surviving that guillotine on, when he fought Brian Ortega. Everyone was like, how did he survive? You know what I mean? Obviously wasn't sunk in 100%. You know what I mean? That choke probably would have gotten 95% of UFC fighters out. But Volk's been there and survived. He knew.
He had plenty of space.
Yeah. And obviously, if you're in a grappling X tournament and you're cranking on an ankle lock versus cranking on an ankle lock in the third round of a fight on the prelims in the UFC, you're probably going to fight it more in the fight in the UFC because they're not hobbyists, bro. They're pros.
Yeah.
Their livelihood, everything is on the line.
It's like playing football, like a professional. Like we're playing it's Thanksgiving. We're all getting together to play football all together. We're always going to go to a certain extent, but you go to the NFL and they're at the a playoff game or an NFL level game. They're obviously going to be giving it at a whole nother level. Like his argument was stupid.
You know what else I'm wondering? I'm wondering, like, where does this guy train? I want to know what gym this guy trains at. Because he said, what did he say? He says that normal guys or normal people, like on a Tuesday night class, aren't willing to die to get out of submission. Bro, I don't know if he's ever rolled with a spazzy-ass white belt. Those fools, dude, they got crazy strength.
I had a white belt this week. He was, I kid you, he was maybe 100 pounds max. I mean, strong kid,
and he ragdolled you.
No, I had him in a position.
What did you do when you woke up?
I had him in a position, and he literally was carrying me all around the mat just to try and get out of because I had.
He didn't want to die, fool. He's trying to survive.
And I was like, and then finally he stopped. I'm like, dude, like you just literally carried me all over this mat, and I haven't even like gone anywhere. I'm still holding on to you, like. It was just so. Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right.
Fucking white belts. Glad they're around, but yeah, this was a cool video, Fonzo. I'm glad you brought it up. Look for more stuff. If you guys are out there listening, you come across some pendejadas like this, shoot it our way, man. We'd love to break stuff like this down. All right, boys, you ready to break the bank? UFC 289 picks coming up. I got a few fights that I want to pick up, that I want to talk about, break down, go over the betting lines, see what we can do here. If there's something else you want to talk about, you let me know, boys. You ready?
Let's do it.
All right. So there was one fight on the prelims, but I think I forgot to put it in the slideshow. So let's just talk about main event and co-main event. So co-main event going to be Charlie Olives taking on Beniel Dariush. Dude, this is like the fight that I want to happen, but I don't want to happen. What do you guys think about this fight, man? Are you pumped for it or not?
Dude, I didn't realize Charlie Olives would be a freaking underdog.
Slight underdog.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is my main event right here.
It should be, right?
Yeah.
The only thing is that it's not a championship fight, so that's probably why.
Yeah.
Dude, this is gonna be a fucking good fight. It's bad news for Charlie though.
Is it 3 rounds or 5 rounds? It's gonna be.
I think it's going to be 3
rounds. Dude. Yeah, I think it's 3 rounds.
It's only going to be 3. Yeah, I think you're right. But let me back up real quick, and I want to talk about a fight that's on the prelims. Nasruddin Imanov taking on Chris Curtis. That's supposed to be the main event on the prelim. There was another fight that got canceled. Gosh, let me see. Oh, Khalil Roundtree and Chris Dawkins was supposed to be on the prelims also, but Chris Dawkins pulled out because of injury. So this fight has been moved up to the main event of the prelims. Nasruddin Imanov, if you forgot already, because he fought against your favorite fighter, Kron Gracie, a couple weeks ago. How long ago was that? It wasn't even that long ago, no?
Yeah,
it was like 3 or 4 weeks ago. Yeah.
So UFC is basically like, yo, Nasruddin, we know that you're like in shape. You took like no damage. Hopefully you didn't get a hangnail or anything in that last fight, but you ready to go 3 rounds against Chris Curtis? Now, Chris Curtis, I think, did he lose his last fight against Kelvin Gastelum?
I don't know. Let me look him up.
So I believe he did, and he was pretty upset about it. Or actually, no, I think he won. Remember, he got bumped off the main card because Raul Rosas fight got moved up to the main event. He
lost unanimous decision, against Kevin Gastelum.
Okay, so that was his last fight then.
Yeah.
All right. So he was super pissed off about that. He thought he won that fight. So he's coming in heated, dude. So I think that this is going to be like, he's going to come in hot. He might even be able to overwhelm Nasruddin. What do you think?
And I kind of do agree, man. That was a close fight, his last fight. I don't know. That could have gone either way. I don't know. But yeah, I think Curtis, I like that fight, man. I think Curtis definitely has a lot of like tools that he can use in a good path to victory. I think he might take it.
Yeah, he's an older guy. He doesn't have the gas tank like the younger guys. You know what I mean? He's not going to put the pedal to the metal and just come out and throw like 50 shots around, spam takedowns like crazy. No, it's going to be a slow, steady progression, and he's just going to start piling the points. But Nasruddin is pretty good, dude. He didn't get to showcase too much of his skills because he didn't have the right dance partner, right, cuz? Maybe? If we're being nice about it.
Yeah, definitely be nice about it.
I think this is going to be a different fight this time around.
Yeah, I mean, that's really, I don't really have too much to say just because I didn't really get to see Nasruddin's, what he had to offer per se. He looked like he had a smart game. I don't really know too much. But he did that, he did look good for his fight. But, we're talking about Chris Curtis. He's, 30-10. So he has the potential. He has the history. He has that fight knowledge. He's strong as hell. I mean, losing that last fight it was against Gastelum. I always mess up their names. That's why I hate saying their names. But like he did well. Like it was a close fight. So this could be a good one. It could be like a banger fight. Or it could just be Curtis just dominating him. I don't know, man. But I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I think it should be interesting, man. It should be fun to watch. Should be a great way to end the prelims and a good way to start the main card. You know what I mean? So let's look at the main card real quick. I'm just going to go over the entire main card. It's supposed to be opened up with Marc-Andre Barriault taking on your boy, Eric Andes. So we're going to get to hear Bruce Buffer say, your boy, Eric Andes. So that's kind of cool. And then right after that, dude, Dan Ige taking on somebody named Nate Landerwehr. I don't know. Oh, Nate Landerwehr. I think that's the guy from Tennessee, no?
Shit. I don't know.
Look him up.
Yeah.
He is. It just clicked right now. Dude, that's going to be a good-ass fight. Fonzo, would you mind looking up the odds for that fight?
Yeah, let me look it
Dan
up. Dan
Ige, Nate Landerwehr. I don't know. Nate has got a chin. Nate reminds me a lot of Dricus. How do you say that? Dricus Duplessis?
Yeah, Duplessis.
Because he just takes a ass whooping, dude, but he doesn't go away. He keeps coming back. I think he won his last fight in the first round.
By submission.
Was it a sub or was it a KO? I don't even remember.
I think it was submission.
I just remember he was like the building was
it was a
dude.
KO.
It was a KO, yeah, because he was on fire, dude. He was so good on the mic afterwards. He was so good. Like, I'm really a fan of Dan Ige. I would hate to see Dan Ige lose, but I would love to hear Nate on the mic.
And that was against that knockout was against Damian Jackson.
Okay.
What's his name? McMahon is gonna fucking recruit him for the WWE watch.
Dude, he's got that.
Just watch.
He's like Chael Sonnen level shit talker. Like, he must practice. He's got a. I don't know if he's got a writer. He doesn't sound all that smart, but put him on the mic, bro, and he's a genius.
It don't matter.
I love him. I like him. I like him. I'm a fan.
So here are the odds.
Hit us.
We got Dan Ige at minus 255 and Nate Landwehr at plus 215. So Danny is a pretty substantial favorite here. Yeah. So you know what I mean? We'll see, man. We'll see if that chink can get cracked or not.
I'm gonna have to talk to my boy Double Nickel about this one and see what's up. But
yeah,
if Nate comes in with the Homer Simpson game plan, Dan Ige is gonna send him packing early, dude. Because Dan Ige's got fucking lunchboxes for hands. He knocks people out. So that'll be a fun fight. I'm super looking forward to that. After that, it looks like it's Mike Malone taking on Adam Fugit. Wow, I don't know about those two guys. So, but if they're on the pay-per-view, the UFC must know something that I don't. And then we got co-main and main event here. So let's go back to co-main. Beneil Dariush taking on Charlie Olives. It looks like the winner of this is going to get an automatic title shot. Boys, am I wrong? Probably.
That dude, if that should be what's happening. That should be what's happening. Yeah,
you got the number 1 versus the number 4. Yeah, you definitely think so.
What do you think is going to happen here, dude? Like, do you see this hitting the ground? Do you think this is going to stay on the feet?
I'm thinking it's going to stay on the feet, dude. I think at some point Charlie might want to take it to the ground. I don't think Beneil is gonna let him do that.
You won't play that game. I think that Benny is gonna have the game plan, and hopefully that he sticks to the game plan. This is what I feel the game plan should be. I think he should, just like you said, stay on the feet. He's got way better stand-up than Charlie Olives. Charlie Olives loves the chaos, dude. He's gonna come right in that pocket and just let him come in, dude. Let him come in. Benny is a great boxer. He's got awesome kicks. He got awesome hands. He's got the wrestling to take it down if that's what he wants to do. He's got really good jiu-jitsu. But I think at this point, he needs to be like use his wrestling to be anti-jiu-jitsu. Yeah. I think what he needs to do is beat the shit out of Charlie for the majority of the first round, the majority of the second round. I think that this being a 3-round fight, if it is a 3-round fight, is going to play against him, because I think a 5-round fight would be better for him, because he would have longer to work, more time to rain the damage, because Charlie Olives is like a Corvette in a freaking destruction derby, dude. You know what I mean? He can win the race if he does just what he needs to do. You know what I mean? Like, just win the race, bro. All you got to do is outrun him. That's it. Use your jiu-jitsu, get the sub, and get out. But he doesn't. What does he want to do? He wants to put on a good fight. He wants to get punched in the face. He wants to get a flash knockout and get woken up before he hits the mat. And that's dangerous. That's
why we love him. That's exactly why we love him, though.
True that. Yeah. But in this instance, I feel like the stakes are so high that Oliveira plays the same game no matter if he's the champ or he's the contender or he's working his way up, right? But Benny, this could be his last chance at an opportunity at the strap. So I think that he's just going to play it safe.
Well, for both these guys, though.
Yeah, maybe. But I feel like Charlie's got more benefit going behind him just because he's the former champ. You know what I mean? And
I can see that.
If you look at their records, check this out. I got Charlie Olives on the left and Beneil on the right. And I got their last like 5 opponents maybe, or 4 opponents. So check this out. Going back to 2020, Charlie Olives has a decision victory over Tony Ferguson, a submission victory over Kevin Lee back in 2020, a submission victory over Dustin Poirier at the end of December 2021, a KO over Michael Chandler round 2 in May of 2021. Then he had the loss against Islam, and then he had the win over Justin Gaethje afterwards.
Yep.
Right? Or before that, I'm sorry. He had the win over Justin Gaethje, then he lost to Makhachev. And then we look at Benny's record going back to 2020. He's got a KO over Scotty Holtzman back in August of 2020. He got a KO over Jakar Close back in March of 2020. He got a decision win over Tony Ferguson in May of 2021. Then a decision over Diego Ferreira in February of 2021. And then he got the 3-round decision over Matthias Gamrot back in October of 2022 last year. So if we're looking at resumes, Charlie's resume blows Benny's out of the water. But that's not his fault. He fights whoever's in front of him. But the one thing that is in his control is how he's been winning. And Charlie Olives has been taking people out most of the time. So, I mean, I'm going for Benny in this, but he's got his work cut out for him, dude. If he's gonna win, this is gonna be a decision because Charlie's gonna be, throwing knees, throwing elbows, throwing submissions. He's gonna be dangerous from all over. I feel like Charlie Olives has more ways to win, but they're not as good as the one way that Benny could win. And Benny can control this fight from the moment the bell rings to the moment the bell ends.
Yeah.
So it's basically who fights their fight.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
And the thing for Benny, he can't be careless. That's the thing.
Because that's Charlie's game, dude. That's what he does. He creates chaos, and boom, next thing you know, you're on your ass. Or he's on top of you, flying triangle or some bullshit, So if Charlie wins, it's gonna be by KO or submission, something like a flash.
I think if he wins, it's gonna be a submission. If Charlie wins, it's gonna be by submission.
But who's your money on, bro? The people want to know.
Over Benny, but now I think I'm gonna put my money. I'm putting my money on Charlie Olives.
Ooh.
Dang.
What about you, cuz? Who you taking?
I'm going Benny. I'm going Benny on this one.
Decision? Finish?
No. I'm gonna go with decision.
Same.
I'm gonna go with decision, yeah.
Same here. I'm going Benny decision. All right. Let's look at the main event. Amanda Nunes taking on Irene Aldana. Amanda Nunes coming off that ass whooping she put on Juliana Peña. Dude, I rewatched that a while ago, and I was like, dude, what the F? Why didn't her corner throw in the towel almost? No?
Yeah. Yeah, that was a beatdown.
When I was a kid, I used to watch this freaking show called The Kids in the Hall. It was like skit comedy. And they used to have this character where this guy would like get all fucked up and he'd go to a bar and pick fights. But all he would do was get his ass kicked every time. And the guy that would kick his ass would be like, feel so bad. And he would be like, just stay down, don't. And he would get up and he'd like, you want some more? You had enough? And then the guy would like, bam, 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 fuck him up again. And everybody be watching. They'd be like, ooh, stay down. But every time he would get back up. Dude, that was Juliana Peña. No doubt. Fucked up. But so she got that W back. Before that, you guys remember she got finished, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then before that, she beat the crap out of Megan Anderson. You guys remember that crazy reverse armbar triangle while she was like raining hammer fist.
Yep.
And and then we look at Irene Aldana. Irene Aldana's got a decision win over Holly Holm, a TKO over Yana Santos, and a KO over Macy Chiasson. I think that was her last fight last year. So she hasn't been as active as Amanda. She has not been facing the same level of competition, but this is someone new.
Yeah, this is someone who's been coming up.
She's got a little bit of boxing behind her. What do you think is going to happen here? By the way, let's go. Let me go back here and look at the odds because Vegas has
odds are Amanda Nunes at negative 315, and Irene is a positive 260.
So Irene's coming in as a big underdog, man. Big underdog.
Yeah. But I think that's because who Amanda is. Like, I was talking about this fight the other day. Like, if Irene was going up against anybody else, I would be like, money is completely. And I'm going for Irene just because I want to make 4 Mexican, champs, whatever.
Right.
I think she's very talented. I mean, she knocked the shit out of Holly Holmes when they fought. She's got good stand-up. I think she's got potential. But Amanda Nunes is like, she's not a woman. Like, she's a dude. Like, she's
a tank, dude.
She's a whole nother level. So, I'm going for her. My money's on her, on Irene, to win this by decision. But Amanda Nunes, like, she's on a whole nother level. I think if Irene was fighting a normal UFC fighter woman, she would. But Amanda Nunes, like, she's something else.
You're speaking facts, cuz I agree, man. Irene did piece up Holly Holm, but she didn't finish her, dude.
Right?
She just doesn't have that stopping power. She's got like 22s. She needs AK-47. She needs 50 cal. I don't know. She needs help, dude. She needs the power, and I just don't see her having it. I think that everything she does good, Amanda does even better. Which is,
but you know what? This could play in Irene's favor, because you guys said you all thought, or I'm not saying we all thought because I didn't, but you guys all thought Grasso was gonna, she was gonna lose, and she fucking put it down. So if Amanda Nunes goes in there like she did last time with Pena, the first time with Pena, like just whatever, I'm not, she's gonna get. Then she is definitely gonna put some work on her. But if it's the Amanda Nunes that came last time, and he's been, throughout UFC history, she's gonna,
But even then, even if she overlooks her, I just don't feel like she's got the tools to do it. Like Juliana Pena's got subs. Juliana Pena is a motherfucker. She can take shots, and she even drops bombs herself. So if you overlooked her, I could see how that could happen. But even if Amanda looks over Aldana and didn't train as well, and takes her lightly for the first 2.5 rounds, I feel like she could just turn it on and just take over Aldana, because I just don't like. Grasso's got sick jiu-jitsu. She's got, I think her boxing is better than Aldana's, but she also has the same problem where she doesn't have the power to back it up.
But again, you guys did say that with Grasso too. Remember you did that story about Eddie?
Agree.
And when he was talking about back in the day, he was all about some UFC fighter or whatever.
Yep.
Remember?
I just don't see it, man.
Know.
Yeah, I just don't see it. What were you gonna say, Fonzo?
I'm gonna go with Aldana.
Aldana? Why is that?
I don't know, man. Something tells me it's gonna happen. And one of the things that I can see happening here is, like, she doesn't need to have all that power, man. She just needs to just outwork her. You know what I mean? Like, that's all she needs. Puts pressure on. Yeah, puts pressure on straight shots, because Amanda has power, but her power comes from those looping shots, right? She doesn't come too straight. She comes in at these angles, which are dangerous. But if Aldana can get there first and strike with straight shots, keep her at her arm's distance, use her reach, because she's got pretty good reach. She can outpiece her and fucking outwork her. And I think that's what she needs to do in this fight. So I think if she's done her homework, I think Aldana is going to take this.
All right.
What's the height difference? Do we know like what the height and reach difference is on this?
That's a good question.
I don't know.
Because that will definitely.
I'm sure it's probably pretty close.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're both pretty tall, but I think Aldana is just a little bit taller.
Mm.
Yeah.
Because if she has that longer reach, that will definitely help her to keep her away from her.
She's 5'9", 68 inch reach.
Man,
that's Aldana.
Mm-hmm.
And then 5'8", 69. So her reach, yeah. So actually, Nunez has a little bit longer reach.
But she's
let's
shorter.
see how they use it. Let's see if
a
they
little
use
shorter.
it. You know,
okay.
If she throws those looping punches that she always does, and that reach goes out the window because it doesn't.
Right.
You know, so it should be a good fight. You know, not the most fieriest pay-per-view card out there. There have been a couple fights that got taken off of this, but hey, it's a pay-per-view, and I'm gonna take it, boys. So that's it, man. Anything else you guys want to talk about?
Yeah. Did you guys watch Fight Night this week?
I did watch it. Yeah, there was some
pretty good. Did you watch that knockout by Miller?
Yeah.
That guy had it. Yeah, he was fighting. I forgot who he was fighting, but he was like his debut.
Yeah,
and he just went out like that. I was like, man, what a way to have your debut and you get knocked out like.
Well, he took the fight like
11 seconds.
2 days notice or 3 days notice. It was super late, you know. So
yeah.
Oh well, I'm sure he'll get another chance. You know, UFC usually pays back their fighters when they do stuff like that. So that's hopefully. It, man. All right, gents. Anything you want to say before we wrap this bad boy up? Fonzo?
Oh man, just one thing real quick. Say hi to my little buddy.
Turn myself into a pickle, Morty! A pickle Rick!
Pickle Rick in the house. Oh yeah. All right, well, that's the last story for the Chingasos Combat Crew. Everyone out there, have a wonderful week. Stay tuned for next week where we wrap up UFC 289. We'll see who was right and who was wrong. Hopefully, may all your parlays pay out. Hey, we'll see y'all next week. Combat Crew out.
Who the fuck is that guy?
All right, guys.